Have you ever scrolled online, seen a glowing painting of a rainy street with lovers under an umbrella and thought, wow, that's beautiful. Who painted that? Here's the twist. Chances are you've already seen the work of Leonid Afremov without even knowing his name. Bright neon rain, golden street lamps, reflections like melted jewels. His paintings pop up in cafes, hotels, calendars, even on Instagram feeds. But almost no one can name the man behind them. So, who was Afremov? Why do his paintings feel like a dream you've already lived? And how did he become one of the most popular and most overlooked artists of the 21st century? Stay with me, because once you know his story, you'll never look at his art the same way again. When you look at Afremov's paintings, those explosions of light and rain, you might imagine a man celebrated in grand museums, critics fighting to praise him, collectors spending millions. But here's the truth. Leonid Afremov was an outsider. Born in 1955 in Belarus, he studied at the legendary Vitebsk Art School, the same place once graced by Marc Chagall. Afremov had every chance to follow the traditional path into galleries, museums, the holy temples of art. But he refused. Why? Because he saw what happened to artists like Van Gogh, men who starved, died unknown, and were only celebrated when it was too late. Afremov didn't want to be a tragic myth. He wanted to live through his art. So he made a dangerous choice. Instead of begging for approval from galleries, he sold his paintings directly to people, online, through auctions, through the mail. In the eyes of the art world, this was almost a sin, a betrayal. But here lies the mystery. If museums ignored him, why do millions of ordinary people hang his art in their homes, use his images as wallpapers, buy his prints in cafes from New York to Tokyo? Because Afremov painted, not for critics, but for hearts. His palette knife became a bridge between life's rain and life's light, between loneliness and beauty. He once said, "Every painting is the result of my life experience. Every canvas is a piece of my soul." And maybe that's why his paintings make you pause, even if just for a second. They carry a kind of aesthetic heartbreak, a beautiful ache that feels both personal and universal. Leonid Afremov's life was anything but easy. Born Jewish in the Soviet Union, he carried an invisible weight from the start: discrimination. No matter his talent, doors kept slamming shut, jobs lost, exhibitions denied. His art was seen as too colorful, too different. And in a world that demanded conformity, difference was dangerous. He tried to find refuge in Israel, but even there life turned brutal. Imagine this, an artist with a family forced to work whatever job he could find just to survive, often humiliated for his accent, his identity, his very existence. Many times he lost everything: money, stability, dignity, yet he refused to let go of his brushes. Here's the paradox. The brighter his canvases became, the darker his personal nights were. Each glowing street lamp he painted was, in truth, a battle against despair. Every reflection in the rain was a silent scream, a hope that beauty could still exist when life was merciless. He said once, "Art was my only weapon against emptiness." And maybe that's why his paintings hit us so hard. They are not just pretty pictures, they are survival. They are fragments of a man rebuilding himself from nothing, again and again and again. Like his own life, every brush of color fights against the darkness that tried to erase him. And then came the breakthrough, not through. While most artists clung to brushes, Afremov abandoned them. He wielded the palette knife like a sword, dragging, slicing, layering oil paint onto canvas with reckless precision. And suddenly, look closer. No fine strokes, no delicate detailing. Just thick, bold slabs of color colliding like storms of memory. The paint doesn't sit flat, it breathes, it shimmers. Under light, each layer catches your eye differently, as if the painting is alive, shifting. But here's the real mystery. Why do these colors feel like memories we've lived, even if we haven't? Maybe because one, a rainy street wasn't just rain, it was the echo of loneliness. A glowing lamp wasn't just light, it was the hope he clung to on nights when life was unbearable. And so his palette knife became more than a tool. It became a translator of emotion. Every strike was a heartbeat, every smear a scar, every glow a stubborn fragment of joy refusing to die. The world noticed. Through the internet, Afremov bypassed the gatekeepers of the art world. He sold his paintings directly. Thousands, then millions of prints shipped to homes across the globe. While critics scoffed, ordinary people fell in love, because his art didn't need an explanation, it just spoke. That's the paradox of Leonid Afremov, a man never embraced by the ivory towers of art history, yet immortalized on the walls of ordinary living rooms. His canvases don't whisper elitism, they scream humanity. And at the center of it all, the shimmering mystery of his colors, the colors of memory, survival, and longing. Here's the strange part. Leonid Afremov never founded a movement. He didn't rewrite the rulebook of art like Picasso. He didn't shatter perception like Monet. And yet, his fingerprints are everywhere.
Look around at young digital artists today. The explosions of neon colors, the luminous reflections on rainy streets, the courage to bypass galleries to share work directly with the world through Instagram, Etsy, or NFTs. That seed? Many trace it back to Afremov. His greatest rebellion was not against style, but against the system. He proved that an artist does not need a museum wall to matter. He proved that art could survive, thrive, and even feed its creator without the approval of critics. In a world where Van Gogh had to die before being recognized, Afremov refused to play that game. He built a bridge where artists and ordinary people met, without permission, without middlemen. That is his true legacy, the democratization of art. He showed that beauty doesn't belong only to the elite, it belongs to everyone. And that's why millions of homes today glow with his colors, even if museums remain silent. It's a paradox. Afremov's work may never be hung in the Louvre, and yet his influence flows through the veins of contemporary art. He became the people's artist in the internet age, a man whose greatest masterpiece wasn't just the paintings he made, but the freedom he gave to others. And in that freedom lies the bittersweet beauty of his life, the fusion of art and existence, the lingering ache of colors that refuse to fade, a kind of aesthetic heartbreak, or what we might call the sob of beauty. So here's the mystery that lingers. Why do Afremov's paintings stay with us long after we've closed the book, turned off the screen, walked away from the canvas? Maybe it's because his colors aren't just pigments. They are memories. They are the echo of rain on forgotten streets, the warmth of a love that almost slipped away, the ache of starting over when the world tries to erase you. Leonid Afremov never became the darling of critics, but maybe he didn't need to. His legacy doesn't hang in a museum. It hangs in living rooms, in bedrooms, in the hearts of millions. And that's where you come in. Tell me, which painting of his speaks to you? Which canvas feels like it was painted from your own memories? Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading them all. And if this journey through color and heartbreak touched you even a little, hit subscribe, because there are more stories, hidden, raw, beautiful, waiting to be told. After all, art isn't just what we see, it's what we feel. And if Afremov taught us anything, it's that sometimes the most unforgettable masterpieces are the ones that make us cry without knowing why.